Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores coming with a quick analysis of this game. I mean, I barely even saw a lot of the second half because I was live streaming and I was constantly conversing with the chat. So I'm not even exactly sure what happened with the second half. I'm gonna have to go back and watch a lot of film on it. But I'm definitely gonna talk about a lot of things I saw this first half, and we gotta talk about these backups, man. Because boy, their second stringers and third stringers made our second and third stringers look like they didn't belong, bro. It was bad. So I'm just gonna go straight off the dome. Usually I have notes as I'm watching the game, but it just wasn't much to talk about. It was just all generally so bad. I don't even have like real notes, so this is gonna be straight off the dome. But before we dive into that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Also, make sure you check out the rest of the channel. All of my videos are organized in playlists. I even have a comedy playlist for all of my funny videos. Also, be on the lookout for my 53-man roster live stream. They're coming out with the official 53-man roster Tuesday by 4 p.m. It may come out before that, so just be on the lookout because once we get it, I'm live streaming my instant reaction. I may do like a slight, quick little video reaction right before I live stream, and then I'm going to immediately live stream and see how y'all feel in the comment section and things like that. And of course, I'll give my thoughts as well, and I'll compare it to what my 53-man roster prediction was as well. And we'll probably be getting constant updates of who's gonna be on the practice squad over time, like hours after the 53-man roster is officially announced. Without further ado, man, let's get it. Alright, so this game was just generally bad. I mean, you can start with the quarterback position. I'm assuming Kyle Allen makes the team by default because Steven Montez, from the little bit I saw, didn't look too much better, even though I personally would prefer Steven Montez over Kyle Allen. I'm tired of just keeping Kyle Allen here because he knows the offense. Kyle Allen's ceiling is so low. Granted, his floor is higher than Steven Montez's, but I'm just with a third stringer. I prefer to go with the guy with the higher ceiling and let him learn. He's more than likely just going to be on our practice squad. Nobody wants him around the NFL. I doubt we have to worry about somebody picking him up. So he's more than likely just going to go to the practice squad because of that, but I'm definitely more interested in what Steven Montez's future holds than Kyle Allen. But Kyle Allen didn't look good today. He had one amazing throw. I mean, he had one of the best throws out of this whole preseason from any of our quarterbacks. That one throw to Dax Milne on the sideline, that was crazy. It was a great catch by Dax Milne, but it was an even better throw by Kyle Allen. Again, I'm going to be completely objective. I don't like Kyle Allen, but that throw was fantastic. But literally the play before that, terrible throw, and the play right after that, bad. I mean, that great throw was sandwiched by two bad plays, and that was pretty much this general theme for Kyle Allen's night. Would have an occasional good throw. I mean, none of the other ones were as good as that one to Dax Milne, but he would occasionally get the ball moving, and then just a head-scratching throw or decision. I mean, that one screen pass, I mean, he threw it so high up in the air, it would have taken, I think it was Jared Patterson, another one of him to go up and catch it. Like, he would have had to stand on his own shoulders to catch that pass. It was just so weird. So that was just the off night from him. And then generally, we just didn't look too good. I mean, in the beginning, when it was Lamar Jackson and the starters versus most of our second stringers, we looked way better. But once they brought in their second and third stringers and we brought in primarily third and fourth stringers, we looked terrible. So granted, we were usually going against better competition all night, but there's no excuse. If you're making this team, we expect you to be able to play against all starters in the NFL. That's the point of you making the team. If there's an injury, we expect you to not only be able to ball out against third stringers, we need you to go out here against these first stringers and ball out. So I don't care if it was third stringers versus first stringers. You still need to look some type of decent because there may be a situation where we depend on you to go against the first stringers in regular season games. But still, again, just to reiterate, a lot of that was like our third stringers against their second stringers, our second stringers against their first stringers. And when it was our second stringers versus their first stringers, our defensive line looked really good. William Bradley King, solidified lock on this team. Daniel Wise looks really good. David Bada. This defensive line depth is way more competitive than I thought it would be. I thought receiver and secondary, maybe offensive line, were going to be our most competitive positions in training camp this offseason. But defensive line is right there up with them. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it may honestly be more competitive than the secondary. Secondary, we don't exactly know who's going to win the spot, but it's more so because like Troy Apke can contribute on special teams. Derek Forrest the same. Plus, he was just recently drafted here. So even though Deshazor Everett is certainly better than him today, maybe they bank on Derek Forrest's potential. Whereas like Daniel Wise, David David Bada, Devaroe Lawrence, William Bradley King, Shaka Toney, all these guys look so good that we don't know who's going to make the team just because all of them look so good. It's not even an argument of special teams or potential. It's literally right now, all of them went out there and looked really good. I mean, we sacked Lamar Jackson in back-to-back drives against, again, their starting O-line with our backups. So we looked pretty decent in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, but then when it became our third stringers versus their seconds, our fourth stringers versus their thirds, our fourth stringers versus their fourths, and it became more even and we just got deeper into each other's benches, it just got bad. But I guess the best way to really look at this is to see like who we think made a good enough impression to make this team. Wes Martin, I don't think he did a left guard. Cornelius Lucas, he already made the team, so it didn't really matter. Tyler Larson's already a backup center, so that didn't matter. Bo Benchwile, I don't think he did enough. Sadiq Charles already making the team, so that's whatever. Kyle Allen, again, for reasons already stated, I think he's making the team. Antonio Gandy Golden, I think he did enough. I think he made enough plays, showed his hands, because honestly, I think Antonio Gandy Golden has better hands than Cam Sims. If we're throwing up a fade route in the end zone, I prefer for it to be Antonio Gandy Golden than Cam Sims, and Cam Sims is taller than Antonio Gandy Golden. Doesn't exactly look like it just because of how skinny and lanky Antonio Gandy Golden is, but Cam Sims is an inch taller, but Antonio Gandy Golden definitely has better hands. Cam Sims is still probably the better overall receiver, but again, I think Antonio Gandy Golden definitely has a role on this team as our best possession receiver, red zone threat out of the receiving group. Again, like I keep saying, that niche already has some players in it, kinda, with our tight end group, because now we finally have tight ends that can do that as well. Whereas in previous years, it was either our receivers figure it out or nobody really does. But now we have tight ends that can do it as well, so that may be enough to niche out Antonio Gandy Golden, but I don't think it will. I think he makes this team over DeAndre Carter. I think Dax Milne may end up making this team over DeAndre Carter. He made a couple of plays in the game. He looked pretty good. And he may not be as good of a returner as DeAndre Carter yet. It may never be, but it's already been reported that Ron Rivera and company see Dax Milne as their future slot. So if they're going to keep 7, maybe Dax Milne is your punt returner, and then Dax Milne and Jared Patterson are your kick returners. At least I hope. Speaking of Jared Patterson, didn't look good today in the receiving game. Wasn't super explosive in the run game like we saw against the Bengals. But people are questioning whether or not he'll make the team after those 2 drops. I still think he does. I think that was just a bad couple of plays. But even today, he looked really good in pass protection. And I think that's enough of him to make this team, so I'm not worried about making the team. I think Jared Patterson is safe. John Bates looked pretty good today. Nice blocking. Again, wasn't watching him every snap. I'm going to have to go back and watch film. But from the plays that I noticed his existence, good blocking, and also made some good catches for some nice gains. And then Peyton Barber looks so bad, but this organization loves him. They feel like he has this niche for getting 1 yard, even though I think Jared Patterson and Antonio Gibson can do the same thing, probably just as well, if not better. But maybe they just don't want to put all of that mileage on Antonio Gibson, and maybe they feel like Jared Patterson is still too young, maybe too small. But like, bruh, every time we ran the ball with Peyton Barber, we were getting 1 yard. And it wasn't even 3rd and 1. It was 1st and 10, 1 yard. 2nd and 9, 1 yard. Now it's 3rd and 8. Literally, that was one possession that happened in the first quarter. I remember it vividly. I was so upset. And then moving on to the other players that started today. William Bradley King, again, dominated. Tim Settle, you already know he's making the team. I'm surprised he played as much as he did. I don't even think it's a question if he's making the team or not, but they put him out there for a long time. Devaroe Lawrence doubts he makes it, but he looked pretty good. Daniel Wise made plays. It's tough. Again, I said David Bada was out there making plays, even though he technically wasn't a starter. When he got out there, he made plays. Shaka Toney looks pretty good. He's been looking pretty good all throughout preseason and training camp, especially preseason, though. He's looked better in preseason than what I've reportedly heard from training camp. The outside linebacker, David Mayo, who technically started, I mean, I think he makes the team because of special teams. Plus, he's a certified run stopper. Jamin Davis, more coverage right now. John Bostic, love his intelligence, but I don't expect him to be just this great run stopper. This guy that plugs in holes, eats up blockers and sheds them and things like that. And then Cole Holcomb is still learning run game wise as well as coverage wise. But so right now, David Mayo is probably our most proven run stopping linebacker on our entire roster. So I think because of that and his strong special teams contribution, he'll make this team. Khaleke Hudson has a lot of potential. I think he makes this team just off of that potential, even though I don't remember him making any good plays out there. Our linebackers looked terrible throughout the entire game. Our defensive line and kind of our secondary, especially like Torrey McTyer, who I'm going to talk about soon, kind of saved us a lot of the time because our linebackers did not look good. Right now, our linebacker depth and our kicker situation are probably our biggest worries on the entire team right now, because Dustin Hopkins, Jordan Kunaszyk, I don't think he's making the team. He started outside linebacker. Torrey McTyer, he's in concussion protocol, but before he was looking really good out there. I mean, even the play he had the concussion, the guy had a step on him, but that's because he pushed off in the middle of the route. Like, I don't know how the refs didn't see that and didn't call that. If it weren't for that push, Torrey McTyer probably would have hit the ball. But instead, he recovered very well, even after being a step behind after the push, and was able to hit the receiver's arm so he couldn't make a smooth catch, and then he ended up dropping it. So Torrey McTyer is a baller. He's definitely on this team. Daryl Roberts, for the most part in coverage, I didn't like what I saw. Again, I'm out to watch film to see if there's some plays that he wasn't talked about because, like, he was covering somebody and then the ball went elsewhere. Maybe he looked good on those plays, but when the ball went towards him, from what I remember seeing, he didn't look that good. But he did have that one really good tackle in the backfield, really good open field tackle. Still don't think he makes the team. DeShazer Everett, still not entirely too sure if he makes a team. I think they're going to super go potential and with the younger guys here. So we'll see. Jeremy Reeves, I mean, he didn't look too swell out there either, but I still think he makes the team. And then for guys that didn't start, like Troy Apke, he may make the team because of special teams. And he didn't look terrible today, but he also didn't look great. But again, he looks like a way better corner than he ever looked at safety. Granted, that's not a hard thing to achieve because he was literally one of the worst safeties I've ever seen. So he just by default, he just has to be a slightly better corner. But no, he's actually a pretty decent corner. I can see him making his team again because he may be our best gunner for special teams on our entire team. He may be our best special teams coverage guy. Even though he got juked out of socks on one punt, he still recovered like that same play. The guy juked him out, he kind of missed, and then he ran him down for only like 5 yards after he caught it. So it was still a good play by him. So I think they may just keep him off of that because he went out there and showed why you prefer a Troy Apke as your gunner, as your main go force a fair catch right now so we can keep this solid field position in the Tress Way just gave us type of guy. And then, of course, my boy Samus Reyes made a nice one-handed catch, looked good in blocking. Again, I'm going to have to watch film. This is just my quick analysis, just right off the dome, right after the game from what I saw. I'm going to have to really watch film and literally watch every snap that he was in the game to see how good he really looked. But when he got thrown towards, he had that one really nice one-hand catch. That was the best I've ever seen him catch anything in preseason so far. So it looks like his hands are getting better, and he's already a really good blocker. I think, like I said in my 53-man prediction, he's going to be that third tight end. Even if they keep 4, I think he's still probably above Ricky Seals-Jones on the depth chart, mostly because of his blocking. Ron Rivera already said he's one of the team's most physical blockers. He may already be our best blocking tight end, and his technique isn't even refined yet. He's just the most physical blocker on the team, and he moves people even with terrible technique. I'll never forget in that Patriots game where he literally had his hands on like the outside shoulders of a guy. You know how bad that technique is? How do you move somebody with your hands around them like this? Like, how are you don't even have power with this. You're supposed to put your hands in their chest and move them like that. The fact that he was able to take a linebacker 5 yards out of the play and made an easy lane for a nice little gain on a running play like this, basically, like there's no power in this. There's no technique. And so once you get the technique right, he's easily our best blocking tight end. And I definitely think that says a lot, especially with his immense physical and athletic potential to become a really deadly receiving tight end as well. You don't just release that guy and allow somebody like the Eagles, the Cowboys, Giants, or another tight end needy team that even if he's not a really good tight end today, they'd be willing to sacrifice a roster spot just to develop him. I can already see it. We release him, we put him on the practice squad, he's getting scooped up the next hour. So I would highly doubt that we even chance putting him on the practice squad because he's just too immensely talented. And again, at least the floor that he has day one that he could contribute even against just the Chargers in 2 weeks is some blocking. And I just got a notification from Ron Rivera's presser that he said that they decided a few days ago that they wouldn't play the starters. So they just really didn't want guys to get hurt. Like I said in my live stream, I mean, they did kind of dodge a bullet. There's a lot of teams out here losing guys out for season type stuff in preseason and training camp. We haven't had any of those. We're just waiting for Curtis Samuel to come back healthy. William Jackson III is just a little banged up. There's just been guys here banged up here and there. But we haven't had like a serious he may be out past week 1 even injury, let alone out for season or out half the year type of stuff. And I think they were like, we're not even going to chance it. We lucked up throughout this whole off season. We're just going to run and just be healthy against the Chargers and hope that we can be prepared enough and have enough nuance and chemistry to where we're not rusty and looking sluggish immediately when we first come out there. We don't want to look like week 1 Washington football team, even though it is week 1. And luckily, like I said in the live stream as well, we lucked up with the Chargers being our first opponent our week 1 opponent, because Justin Herbert hasn't played any this preseason. He's only coming into his 2nd year in the NFL. Granted, he's a really good quarterback, but like everybody, I mean, even Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes has been playing a lot in preseason. There's something to like getting a rhythm and getting back into the groove of playing football against real competition. So I think Justin Herbert may be some type of rusty against us. He may not be on it until like the second half. We have definitely lucked up with our week 1 opponent being Justin Herbert, and maybe that went into their calculations for whether or not we should play our starters, because you have a little bit of leeway to be a little rusty against the Chargers, because they're literally like the only team in the NFL that their starting quarterback didn't play any preseason at all on purpose. Dak Prescott didn't play any preseason because of his injuries, and they're just taking extreme precaution. But like Justin Herbert, they literally were like, you're not playing. I believe Joe Burrow may not have played either. So Cowboys, Chargers, and Cincinnati Bengals are like the best week 1 opponents. We ended up with one of them. So I think we'll be straight. We may be a little bit rusty. I think the Chargers are going to be rusty as well. Ron Rivera also just addressed not playing the starters. Like I said, it was for health reasons. And then also number 2, he said a lot of guys have had such great camps, there's no reason to throw them out there again. And then I was kind of happy to see some of the starters that weren't playing. Like granted, I did want to see the starters out there. I wanted to see the first team offense. I wanted to see Ryan Fitzpatrick. But like the fact that De'Ami Brown wasn't even going to try to play today lets me know, oh yeah, we're certified. He's great. We're keeping him in the refrigerator, just like how we kept Terry McLaurin in the refrigerator his rookie season. He's already shown us enough. Benjamin St. Juste has shown us enough. Samuel Cosmi has shown us enough. I'm surprised about Jamin Davis. I thought he needed the reps. Granted, what he looked like going against the Patriots compared to what he looked like going against the Bengals, it was a huge step forward. Maybe he's taking another step in practice, but I really wanted to see him in the preseason because I think he needs every rep he can get, because everything he needs to work on is mental and instinctual. So I just feel like the more playing time he gets against real competition, that's the only way he's going to get better. But I don't know. The fact that they set him may be a good sign. They don't feel like it's an emergency, man. We got to get him some more reps so he can even be playable against the Chargers. So that's a good sign that Jamin Davis didn't play today. Maybe he's further ahead than a lot of us think. But yeah, man, those are just my quick thoughts, quick analysis. I feel like as soon as I'm done with recording this video and I'm editing it, I'm going to think of something else to say. But this is just my instant reaction, my just quick thoughts. Again, I didn't even have notes this time. I had notes last preseason game. This time I didn't even have notes because it was just so sloppy. I didn't even know what to write down. But yeah, man, please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything that happened in this game, everything I discussed in this video. Do you agree or disagree with me? Also, please like this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. And as always, man, I appreciate all of the support, man. Shouts out to everybody that donates to the channel. Shouts out to all of y'all that put up to the stream. We had so many great conversations. I mean, we weren't even talking about the game. We were talking about which colleges were DBU, QBU, all of that type of stuff. We were having so much fun. It all started with the best defensive player of all time. I said Lawrence Taylor. Some people were saying Aaron Donald, Reggie White. It was Deion Sanders. I mean, it just went down a whole rabbit hole. Then we started talking about offensive players, running backs, LaDainian Tomlinson, Walter Payton, Jim Brown. I mean, we just went down a whole wormhole of just great football discussion. So I appreciate y'all, and of course I appreciate all of my channel members, man. Big shouts out to everybody that's a channel member, everybody that donates to the channel, but especially my Pro Bowl sponsors whose names you see scroll on the screen right now, man. I really appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.